Coming up, a rear-end crash on Highway 86 in Neosho takes the life of a 74-year-old man.
We remember what all that stuff is on the radar, right? It's rain moving into the area. We're going to talk about how much we'll get, what it does for temperatures coming up.
And our own Yana Hatula takes us to Wildcat Glades Conservation Area in Joplin to show us the sights and the ongoing battle against graffiti.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So the green stuff on the radar, it turns out it's rain.
Makes you kind of feel like you want to be singing in the rain.
Yeah. That's a nice little preview as to what we have coming up here a little later today. Or, well, not today, but this morning. You know what?
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m.
Little tease for
Still
you.
early. We're getting there. I got the second cup of coffee going. So let's take a look at the radar, shall we? So take a look at the rainfall that we are seeing across the area. Pretty widespread across our northern counties. And as we look out to the north and west, we can see it's very slowly, very easily shifting south-south, or east-southeast rather. It's not going to be a complete deluge of rain, unfortunately. I know we need all that rain, but it's not going to be that. Not all of this is going to make it down here, but we will see some showers. Now, right now in Joplin, we're just south of the showers, so it's mostly cloudy, 63 degrees. 63 is a very important number because what this cold front's going to do to us is kind of crazy for today, and then what happens right after. 55 Yates Center in Iola, 59 in Chanute, 63 Columbus, 63 Carthage, 65 Neosho. So you can tell where the front is and where it's not. As you look behind the front, we're 15 to almost 20 degrees cooler this morning than what we were yesterday morning at this time, where, say, Grove and Anderson are only a couple of degrees off the pace because the front hasn't quite reached them yet. It also is helping allergy sufferers, by the way. We're dropping to a 7.1 out of 12 today, 7.0 out of 12 tomorrow. So there's still pollen out there, but it's much better. Today, and this is your first little tease of what happens with this front, 63 with some showers this morning. When the kids get off the bus at 3, 62 with more showers. And then today, and that's what I really wanted to show you, 66 is our high, which, by the way, we pretty much already reached that. It might warm back up a little bit. And then temperatures drop throughout the day into the lower 60s, upper 50s, and then we get this weird turnaround. We're in a very weird situation with this system, and it's kind of fascinating meteorologically what exactly is going on with it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of rain with it. It's got rain. We're getting some rain. We're going to get some rain, just not as much as we really need. But it's really messing with temperatures. We're going to talk more about how it messes with temperatures here in a few minutes. It's very fascinating to me. I'm kind of a weather nerd, and it's just interesting how this system's playing out over the next about 24, 36 hours.
Yeah, however it plays out, I am thoroughly excited about the temperatures.
Yeah, can you believe it was 99 yesterday?
My kids, I lay out my clothes for my kids in the morning, and they didn't believe me that I told them, no, we're not putting shorts out, we're putting pants out tomorrow.
Yeah,
and you're probably going to want to grab a jacket on your way out the door too.
You need a rain jacket, and you're going to need some slightly warmer clothes because, like I said, what it is now, it's going to be cooler by the time they get home.
Yeah, even when they get off the bus. A lot of times it's cool in the morning and then hot in the afternoon.
Not today. Not today. It's a little different today.
Listen to your parents this morning.
We got a lot more to talk about with this forecast, and we will do so here in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a collision with a dog in the roadway causes a serious crash in McDonald County. The crash occurred on Wednesday around 2 in the afternoon at about 6 miles south of Rocky Comfort. A 2006 Suzuki GSX R600 motorcycle driven by Dustin Stevens struck a dog in the roadway, which caused the bike to leave the road and overturn. Stevens was transported to Freeman West in Joplin by ambulance with moderate injuries. The passenger, Jamie Stevens, was airlifted to Freeman West with serious injuries. A rear-end crash takes the life of a Neosho man. The crash happened just after 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. Authorities say a 2022 Buick Encore traveling eastbound on Highway 86 struck the rear of a 2021 Hyundai Elantra, which was stopped in the left-hand turn lane near Highway 86 and Baxter Street. The Neosho Police Department says the driver of the Buick, 74-year-old Charles Hickson, died at the scene. Police say the driver of the Hyundai, Shireen Rabaliman of Neosho, was treated and released on scene by the Newton County Ambulance. To see the full press release from the Neosho Police, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Former Joplin physician pleads guilty in a multi-million-dollar Medicare and Medicaid fraud scheme. Oluwatobi Yerakun entered the plea in federal court. Yerakun practiced medicine in Missouri, among other places, contracted with a staffing company to work as a telemedicine provider. Yerakun admits he falsely certified the products and tests were medically necessary for more than 2,000 Medicare and Medicare patients in Missouri, whom he never met or examined. Yerakun received nearly $45,000 for signing the fraudulent claims. Those claims resulted in millions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare billing for medical equipment companies and labs. Well, big changes are headed to the lives of some Kansas students. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced a 5-year, $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The grant aims to address the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students. An official with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says the grant will impact children without resources.
Housing is a big issue for us. A lot of them have HUD vouchers already. They just are unable to find proper rentals. And so that's something I work with. I am constantly on the hunt for HUD-approved housing. And then food is another one. I make sure that they are enrolled in SNAP if they aren't already, and then find the food pantry options that they have available to them.
Gagnon says the Community Health Center will be able to add a school-based community health worker in Pittsburgh and Fort Scott school districts. Uppercut Salon in Fort Scott, Kansas gets ready to hold a fundraiser in recognition of October as Mental Health Awareness Month. They say 100% of their proceeds will go to the Southeast Kansas Mental Health Center. The fundraiser starts on October 17th and ends on the 23rd and will benefit children receiving services. Wildcat Glades Conservation Area in Joplin keeps up the fight to keep nature clean from graffiti. Maddie Jackson, a naturalist from Wildcat Glades Friends Group, says the conservation areas there are often targeted for graffiti. She says spray paint has particles which are harmful to wildlife. Also, people who are coming to nature to get away from the city keep seeing the graffiti all over, which might not be what the escape they want. Jackson also says removing spray paint is not cheap or easy.
It is often that graffiti is just done over and over, regardless of how many times it's painted over or removed. And not to mention, the issue with graffiti is not just the chemicals that are put into the environment, but also that stuff is really expensive.
Jackson reminds people who use the park to call police if they see someone spray painting, as it is classified as vandalism. Now, later in the show, our own Yana Hatula takes us down to the Wildcat Glades Conservation Area for a closer look at this story.
Well, this is the other half of that forecast I wanted to show you. This is as we head into tonight. So we have an overnight low of 55. That's as low as it's going to get. And then overnight, temperatures creep up. We've got everything in the forecast flip-flopped, where our temperatures are going to drop through the day but rise overnight. And that's because by tomorrow, even though we have some additional shower chances, we're going to look at 88 degrees on Friday, 96 on Saturday, and then we level out starting Sunday after we get the last bit of showers out of here. So it's a little bit of a flip-flopped crazy mess, and my little sister's watching at home and noticed that on the Today graphic, nobody else noticed, and if anybody here did, they didn't say anything, it still said hot under 66.
You meant Saturday will be hot.
Saturday will be hot, but
96.
it was supposed to say rain under the temperature for today, and it said hot. But you know what? To some people who really like the cold temperatures, 66 might still be hot. So
there you go. There you go.
It's all a matter of perception.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Missouri Southern Lions showed their pride by getting themselves to 2-1 on the season. But these kings of the jungle won't rest when they've got a hungry Fort Hays State Tigers team to face this weekend.
Plus, one new study from the CDC says the vast majority of deaths among pregnant women and mothers in the U.S. are preventable. We've got some lifestyle changes parents can make to keep moms safe and healthy.
And Patricia Ward Kelly comes to the Bolus main stage in Iola, Kansas for one night only to talk about the life and legacy of her late husband, iconic actor and dancer and director Gene Kelly. We'll have her in the studio. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions have put together back-to-back wins to get 2-1 in the first 3 weeks of the season. Last week, the Lions got the offense going a little bit, scoring a season-high 40 points in their 40-21 win over Central Oklahoma. Saturday, the Lions are back on the road facing the Fort Hays State Tigers. Hays is 1-2 in their first 3. For Missouri Southern, redshirt junior Ezekiel Lang has kind of a burst on the scene in the last 2 weeks. In the Lions' last 2 wins, he has 7 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I didn't play last year, so it feels good to get back on the field with the team and stuff like that. So then with COVID happened too, so I ain't touched the field in about 3 years. So it feel kind of good to be back.
Zeke's one of those guys that just exemplifies our program. He comes to work. He's not concerned about his number. He's not concerned about his stats. He blocks on the perimeter. I think he's leading us in tackles on kickoff. He starts on 2 special teams. I mean, he's that guy. He's very selfless. He just wants to see us win. And we're starting to get a collection of those guys in the locker room, and it's paying dividends.
Last night, Kansas City at home against Minnesota for Game 2 of their series with the Twins. Royals grab an early lead and hold on for the win, 5-2. Salvador Perez goes 3 for 4 with an RBI double. In the National League, St. Louis Cardinals hit the field for Game 2 of their series with the Padres. The Cards only scored 1 run in the last 3 games combined. That makes that 4 as they get blanked again. San Diego's only run of the game holds up for the win. Still to come, Biden administration announced Wednesday that starting early next year, the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba will resume full immigrant visa processing for the first time since 2017. Plus, we're going to take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Take a look at the Skywatch storm tracker this morning. As you can see, especially in our northern counties right now, we've got a good batch of rain to deal with. We're not expecting a ton of rain out of this system, but it is rain nonetheless, and you can see it stretches all the way back along and south of I-70 across Kansas. Like I said, unfortunately, it's not a ton of rain, but it is rain, and that is something we need. Now, 7th and Range line, still dry. It's cooling down because the front's been through, but it's still dry. So we're mostly cloudy in Joplin, 63. The wind is shifting out of the north as that front moves on through, and it's getting cool. So here's where you can see very clearly where the front is, where it's been, and where it needs to get. 55 Yates Center, Iola, 61 Parsons, 65 Welch, 66 Anderson, 69 Bentonville. So there's that gradual thing. And on the 24-hour temperature change map, that's where you can really see where that front's managed to push through and where it hasn't. We're anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below where we were 24 hours ago this morning, except for those in, again, say Veneta, Grove, and Anderson, where the front just hasn't gotten through yet. The other advantage to the front is what it's doing for allergy sufferers. We're at a 7.1 out of 12 for today on the pollen count. We go to a 7 out of 12 tomorrow, and that's good news. It's not perfect, but it's lower than what it has been. It's lowest in quite some time, which will help allergy sufferers with their relief. Rain, showers, and etc. this morning, 63, but then look at this, 62. With more gusty winds as the kids get off the bus. And that's the fun thing that we've got today. We've got a topsy-turvy forecast. 66 is our high. And we'll hit that right around the noon hour. And then the temperature will gradually drop through the day, which it's supposed to, right? It's supposed to gradually drop through the day with showers. But then, as we head into the overnight, we'll have a low of 55 just before midnight, before temperatures slowly start to rise overnight with a few more shower chances possible. And on the 7-day forecast, you can see why. We head back up to 88 tomorrow, 96 Saturday, and then temperatures begin to level off for the upcoming week. Well, beloved actor and dancer Gene Kelly passed away 26 years ago, but he left behind an undeniable cinematic legacy that makes him one of the truly great Hollywood talents. Now, coming up later on the KOAM Morning News, Patricia Ward Kelly, the wife of the late, great Gene Kelly, will join us here in the studio to talk about not just his work, but his life as a dancer, actor, and husband. And you may think that you're not really familiar with Gene Kelly, but chances are you at least know the scene of Gene Kelly gleefully stomping through rain puddles in the MGM classic Singin' in the Rain. Eugene Curran Kelly was an American actor, dancer, singer, filmmaker, and choreographer, as well as director who starred in over 30 films, including such memorable titles as Singin' in the Rain, An American in Paris, On the Town, Anchors Aweigh, and Brigadoon. With so many memorable performances, we found ourselves talking about our own personal favorite Gene Kelly movies and wondered, what's your favorite Gene Kelly movie? We give you a few choices just because that's how the system works. You know, Singin' in the Rain, An American in Paris, Brigadoon, Inherit the Wind, Anchors Aweigh, or maybe something else. Make sure you vote through our website, through the app, and then maybe share some of your fondest memories on our Facebook page. We'll be back with Healthwatch right after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, the vast majority of deaths among pregnant women and new mothers in the U.S. were preventable. That's according to a new report by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Mandy Gaither has more on lifestyle changes women can make before, during, and after pregnancy that can keep them safe and healthy.
Every year in the U.S., around 700 women die from pregnancy-related complications.
That's tragic. But then when you add to that the fact that 80% of these deaths are preventable, it's really heartbreaking.
A new CDC report shows 22% of these deaths are happening during pregnancy, 25% on the day of the delivery or within a week after delivery, and more than 50% a week to 1 year after pregnancy. The underlying cause for about 38% of these deaths were cardiac and coronary conditions and other heart-related problems, followed by mental health conditions such as suicide and drug overdoses and hemorrhage.
We need to be better about preconception, counseling, and getting a woman in the best shape possible before she even conceives.
Health experts say that means having a healthy diet, exercising, avoiding substance use, and getting chronic health conditions in check. During pregnancy, experts say women should be monitored closely by their doctor and screened for infections or other conditions that could be dangerous.
The CDC has a campaign called Hear Her, where they educate women on warning signs, and that can be used either during pregnancy or postpartum, and it's really important to pick up on some of these signs early.
The report also says American Indian, Alaskan Native, and Black women are 2 to 3 times as likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than white women. That's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've got some showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder moving across the area this morning. Still staying mostly to our north right now, but these will slowly sink to the southeast across the area. And you can see where the shower activity stretches all the way back across Kansas, right along and south of I-70. Now, we're not going to get a complete just downpour of rain, but we are getting rain, and it's something that we do need for the area. All right, 7th and Range Line. Still no rain in Joplin yet, so the roads are dry. We're sitting at 63, so the front's been through, just no rain yet. Across the area, 56 Yates Center, 55 Iola, 58 Fort Scott, and then where the front hasn't been through, we're looking at 66 Nowata, Veneta, Jay, 65 in Anderson, and 70 in Bentonville. And the 24-hour temperature change shows the 10 to 20 degree difference where the front has been through, and eventually it will continue to shift to the south and bring cooler weather down to our friends there. We got showers as kids get on the bus this morning, 63. Now here's the fun part. By the time they get off the bus, gusty winds, 62. We come down a degree. And as we go through today, right around noon, we'll hit our high of 66 as temperatures gradually drop. And then overnight, we'll hit a low early of 55 before temperatures gradually rise across the area. And I wanted to show the rain tracker. This is what I mean. We're not going to get a ton of rain out of this, but we're looking from about 1/10 of an inch to roughly 3/4 of an inch of rain out of this system. And on the 7-day forecast, here's why the temperatures rise, because look at Friday. We go back up, 88 degrees, 96 Saturday, and then we finally get through some shower chances, the last of them out of here Saturday, and we look at partly cloudy skies through the upcoming week, and temperatures begin to level out a bit. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a rear-end crash on Highway 86 in Neosho takes the life of a 74-year-old man.
A temperature drop upwards of 20 degrees this morning with a cold front and rain chances. We're going to talk all about it coming up.
And our own Yana Hatula takes us to Wildcat Glades Conservation Area in Joplin to show us the sights and the ongoing battle against graffiti.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is, for those who like the rain, it is a lovely start to the day. For those who like fall temperatures, it is a lovely start to the day. If you don't like either of those things and this is not your day, you should go back to bed. But we are getting some rain that we absolutely need. It's not a ton of rain, but there it is, as you can see, slowly working in as it drifts off to the east-southeast. More rain back behind it. We're not looking at just an onslaught of rain, unfortunately, because I know we need it, but we do have some shower chances throughout most of today. Now, down in Joplin at 7th and Range Line, it's still dry. The cold front has made it through, but no precipitation yet, so 63, mostly cloudy skies. Then we've got these temperatures across the area where it's been raining, a little cooler. 55 Iola, 50-68 Center, 60 Pittsburgh, 64 down in Neosho. This is what I was showing you earlier. We are 10 to 20 degrees below where we were yesterday at this same time, and it's only going to get cooler. Kids getting on the bus this morning, showers to deal with, 63, and then this afternoon when they get off the bus, gusty winds again, but 62, and our temperature is actually going to gradually drop. We'll hit at a high of 66 sometime this morning or right around noon, and then temperatures will drop off with showers continuing. Showers break up briefly this evening before they return tomorrow morning. Overnight low early of 55 before temperatures begin to rise overnight. It's a little flip-flopped in terms of how things are going to go, but we'll take a look at the 7-day forecast. Now kind of show you why the temperatures are playing this weird game with us. But at least for today, we've got some showers, not a ton of rain, but it's rain. And we've got much cooler temperatures for today on the first day of fall. Of course, fall doesn't begin until 8 o'clock tonight, but, you know, good enough. It's close enough.
I tell you what, I was so thankful when this cold front started rolling through yesterday evening. My son had a soccer game at 7 o'clock. And it had been so hot all day long. We were prepared, he was hydrated. We get there, on our way there, a couple sprinkles, and then the wind picks up, and it was almost chilly during the game.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, yesterday with some of the rain we did see in the evening, you could very clearly see where that cold front was as it started making its way down here. Now it's getting ready to push through the rest of the area before things change again.
That's right.
And then we have, I know this is so crazy, we have a chance of breaking another record high this weekend. Despite what we're seeing today, in a couple of days, we could break another record high.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a rear-end crash takes the life of a Neosho man. The crash happened just after 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. Authorities say a Buick Encore traveling eastbound on Highway 86 struck the rear end of a Hyundai Elantra, which was stopped in the left-hand turn lane near Highway 86 and Baxter Street. The Neosho Police Department says the driver of the Buick, 74-year-old Charles Hickson, died at the scene. Police say the Hyundai driver, Sharon Rabelon of Neosho, was treated and released on scene by the Newton County Ambulance. You can see the full press release from the Neosho Police by going to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Wildcat Glades Conservation Area in Joplin is trying to keep nature clean from graffiti. KOAM's Yana Hatula spoke to officials and a local sports team who helped paint over some of the graffiti.
Wildcat Glades Conservation Area in Joplin is often targeted for graffiti. Naturalist Maddie Jackson says graffiti causes two main problems. Firstly, spray paint has harmful particles to wildlife. Secondly, graffiti ruins the experience for people.
A lot of times people come here to kind of check out and they like to get away from the city, but it's a little bit difficult to get away from city life when you're faced with graffiti.
According to Sergeant Andy Blair, people do graffiti on places where they are not heavily seen, such as here at Wildcat Glades Trails. Consequences from graffiti can be vandalism or property destruction, depending on the value.
Financial value of what was destroyed, that could always grow into being a felony instead of a misdemeanor. So there'd be quite a few consequences behind that could be pretty detrimental.
Jackson and Blair both want people who are walking on the trails to contact people if they see someone doing graffiti, as it is not easy or cheap to remove.
That stuff is really expensive. A little tube of eco-friendly cleaner, because we try not to use those really heavy chemical-based things that can, wash into the waterways. It's really expensive. It's $70 for a tiny little tube of it.
Luckily, Wildcat Glades Friends Group has volunteers help keeping the area clean. Missouri Southern women's basketball team wants to give back to the community that supports them.
I don't get the point of it. I guess it's a way for some kids to express themselves, but I definitely think they could do it somewhere else besides on property in places like this where people can come and enjoy our nature. I think there's definitely a place for it, and it's not places like this.
In Joplin, Janna Haudala, KOAM News.
Missouri Southern women's basketball team has been helping Wildcat Glades before as well. Beloved actor and dancer Gene Kelly passed away 26 years ago, but he left behind an undeniable cinematic legacy that makes him one of the truly great Hollywood talents.
Coming up later on the KOAM Morning News, Patricia Ward Kelly, the wife of the late great Gene Kelly, will join us in the studio to talk about not just his work but his life as a dancer, actor, husband, director, and a number of other things. Now, you may not think you're familiar with Gene Kelly, but chances are you at least know the scene of Kelly gleefully stomping through rain puddles in the MGM classic Singing in the Rain. Gene Curran Kelly was an American actor, dancer, singer, filmmaker, choreographer, a number of things, who starred in over 30 films, including such memorable titles as Singing in the Rain, An American in Paris, On the Town, Anchors Away, and Brigadoon.
With so many memorable performances, we found ourselves talking about our own personal favorite Gene Kelly movies and wondered, what's your favorite Gene Kelly movie?
So we gave you a few options, plus the option of other, because there's no way we could list 30 movies in this little bar down here. So far, 25, it's even split between 4 movies. Singing in the Rain, American in Paris, Anchors Away, and Brigadoon, 25% for each of those. Nobody voted for Inherit the Wind. Nobody selected others. So far, there's 4 favorites in the 4 states. Maybe that's 1 favorite per state. Each state has their own favorite Gene Kelly movie. We'll make sure you vote through our website, through our app, and of course, share your favorite movies and memories on our Facebook page. All right, quick check of what I meant by not a lot of rain. If you take a look at the rain tracker, you can see we're only looking at maybe 1/10 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch with all of this, so not a lot. And on the 7-day forecast is why our temperatures go all wonky today and tonight. We're going to be 88 tomorrow, 96 Saturday when we could break another record high, and then temperatures will level out by the start of next week.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, we introduce you to a Colorado family who finds out their 10-year-old son just happens to be a musical wizard.
Plus, President Joe Biden uses his address before the UN General Assembly to denounce the war in Ukraine. This as protests enter the streets of Russia. Well, the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, the Biden administration announces additional measures to support the Cuban people. Starting early next year, the U.S. Embassy in Havana will resume full immigrant visa processing for the first time since 2017. More personnel will also be available in Havana to process cases and conduct interviews. This is part of the Cuban reunification parole program that resumed in August. It allows U.S. eligible citizens and permanent residents to apply for parole for their family in Cuba so they can reunite in the U.S. This comes as border officials encounter an increasing number of Cubans at the border. The latest data shows in August, border officials encountered just over 19,000 Cuban immigrants. That's up from 4,500 last August. President Biden used his address to the United Nations to denounce Russia and President Vladimir Putin's, quote, brutal, needless war on Ukraine. The president also called out Putin's latest nuclear threats as reckless and irresponsible. Bradley Blackburn has the details.
As he addressed the United Nations, President Biden condemned Russia's 7-month-old war and called on the world to stand in solidarity with Ukraine.
Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter. No more important than the clear prohibition against countries taking the territory of their neighbor by force.
The president also denounced Russian President Vladimir Putin's newly announced order of a partial mobilization of hundreds of thousands of reservists. That news set off protests across Russia, with hundreds arrested and sparked an exodus of people taking one-way flights out of the country. This is a time-lapse graphic of flights departing Russia on FlightRadar24.com that went viral. President Biden also called out Putin's new threat to use nuclear weapons and criticized Russia for scheduling sham referenda this week in territories it has forcibly seized in Ukraine.
This world should see these outrageous acts for what they are.
Here at the UN, President Biden pledged nearly $3 billion in additional aid for global food security in response to shortages that have been worsened by the war.
A crime has been committed against Ukraine, and we demand just punishment.
In a pre-recorded video, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky told UN delegates that his forces would press on until they have reclaimed all of Ukraine. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Ukrainian President Zelensky also said a special tribunal should be created to investigate and punish Russia. He also suggested the UN should strip Russia of its veto power on the UN Security Council. President Biden, meanwhile, addressed more than just the war in Ukraine. He also pressed nations to meet an $18 billion target to replenish the global fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Taking a look at the Skywatch storm tracker, you can see we've got showers rolling into the area as they gradually drift off to the east-southeast. More showers back to our west across Kansas. We're not going to get just dumped on with rain, but we are getting rain, and rain is something we need. We'll take whatever we can get. Oh, you ever had that happen? Your nose just suddenly itches. There it was. 7th range line, still dry in Joplin. The cold fronts move through, but not the rain. 63 is where we sit in Joplin and mostly cloudy skies. 54 Iola, 58 Pittsburgh, 64 Miami, and 65 in Anderson. That puts us anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below where we were yesterday. Kids getting on the bus. Rain is here, and that's going to be here. 63 at 7 a.m. Gusty northeast breeze later today, 62 at 3 o'clock. And as we go through the rest of today, we're going to have a high of 66, and then we'll gradually drop off into the lower 60s with shower chances. Shower chances let up for a bit, 55 for an overnight low early, and then we gradually start to warm up. Because as we head into Friday, we have a high of 88 Friday, a possible record-breaking high on Saturday of 96, and then temperatures begin to level out heading into next week. We're back right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A collision with a dog causes a serious crash in McDonald County about 6 miles south of Rocky Comfort. 2006. A Suzuki motorcycle driven by Dustin Stevens struck a dog in the roadway, which caused the motorcycle to leave the road and overturn. Stevens was transported to Freeman West in Joplin by ambulance with moderate injuries. The passenger, Jamie Stevens, was airlifted to Freeman West with serious injuries. A Chinook, Kansas man has a fresh start after his name was cleared of a felony conviction for crimes he did not commit. 7 years ago, Shane Thompson found out the conviction of another man was associated with his Social Security number. Since then, he's fought to have his name cleared, and on Wednesday, it finally came to fruition as law enforcement provided the last documents needed to do so. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a 5-year, $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The grant aims to address the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students. An official with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says the grant will impact children without resources. Score One for Health is hosting elementary students from Columbia and West Central schools in Joplin. This program is held at Joplin's Kansas City University and allows second-year medical students to do head-to-toe physical assessments, oral screenings, and vision tests. Elementary students also participate in STEM education activity. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder across the area as we get a cold front through the area this morning. We've got more showers out to the west. We're not going to get just dumped on with rain, but we are getting rain that we absolutely need. 7th range line in Joplin, still dry, 63, mostly cloudy. The cold fronts made it through, but not the rain yet. 54 Iola, 58 Pittsburgh, 64 Neosho, and 65 in Anderson as we start the day, putting us anywhere from 10 to upwards of 20 degrees cooler where the front has been through this morning than what we were 24 hours ago. The front and rain also helping with allergies. Their lowest so far over the several days, a 7.1 out of 12 today, 7 out of 12 for tomorrow. So this Pollen counts are still up there, but they're considerably better than what they have been. Kids getting on the bus this morning, they're going to need the rain jacket. They're going to need something a little warmer to wear because we're at 63 when they get on the bus. We're at 62 when they get off the bus at 3 with a gusty northeast breeze. Going through the rest of today, here's where it gets interesting. We reach a high of 66 with the showers and maybe some thunderstorms. Temperatures gradually drop through the day. That's what they typically do. Then we head into the overnight, and then the temperatures overnight low 55 early, and they'll gradually rise through the evening because when we head into the 7-day forecast, we heat up again. We get through today, and then all of a sudden we're warm again. 88 tomorrow, possible record-breaking day Saturday, 96, and the temperatures finally start to level out as we head into the start of the next work week. We're back with more right after this.
A young boy in Colorado has a special talent.
He's a musical genius, but it was a hidden gift for the first 10 years of his life.
Danny New has the story.
It's really not often that a 10-year-old can give keyboard lessons to himself.
One day I was here watching the news when I heard him play something on, there's a small keyboard down the basement. So I grabbed my phone and went down there and I'm like, Jude, play that again.
This was in February of last year when Jude, who has autism, made his father realize that his youngest son could basically hear anything and then figure out how to play it immediately. Even our station jingle.
Oh, it changes octaves now.
So you can imagine the reaction from his parents.
The Lord is good.
Especially for his father, who was a musician in his home country of Ghana before moving to America.
I had that dream of being able to play for on a big stage, but I got here, I couldn't do that, so I'm like, okay, then I want the kids to do it. Yeah, so this is him.
But Jude's unexpected virtuosity also felt like a blessing because of his health problems early in life.
He looked tiny with all those machines going off.
That must have been horrible.
Yes.
Jude was born with low oxygen levels and had to have heart surgery as a baby to repair a hole. He even needed a feeding tube in his stomach until he was 8. But Jude is a fighter and has thankfully mostly recovered now. As you can tell, it's kind of hard to break his spirit.
Do you know you're doing that, or it just all comes out?
Maybe it just all comes out.
Now at 11 years old, Jude is all over YouTube, he plays weddings, he's the lead keyboardist at their church in Aurora, and...
That's him.
He'll even jam with beginners. But no matter how many accolades he racks up in his young and sudden career as a maestro, their family can only see this one way.
Looking at his situation, also his diagnosis, how he was born in the journey, and now the way he's played, yeah, it's just God alone.
It's a miracle.
And we have breaking news that we're going to bring you that's happening right now in Joplin.
We've got an apartment complex fire that's at the 1900 block of East 10th Street in Joplin. Our very own Shannon Becker is live on the scene. From video that we had seen from his live feed just moments ago, seems to suggest this is a pretty substantial fire, and we'll bring you more information as it becomes available. There you can see a look at it. That is definitely a significant fire. This is 9th and Connecticut in Joplin. And again, KOAM's Shannon Becker is on the scene right now getting the details, and as they become available, we will bring them to you, and we'll of course have updates on this breaking story at KOAMNewsNow.
And from what we can tell, the complex is fully engulfed at this time.
Yeah,
still,
it appears to be. It looks like there's a few different buildings in this particular complex, and that one in particular is completely engulfed at this point. Again, Shannon Becker on scene. We'll have live updates, KOAMNewsNow.com, on our Facebook page, and here on the KOAM Morning News as they become available. We'll have another quick check of your forecast as well after this. All right, temperatures right now across the area are looking all right, and they are chilly compared to what we've seen. 54 Iola, 58 Pittsburgh, 63 in Joplin this morning. This placing us anywhere from 10 to upwards of 20 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago, thanks to a cold front, and you can clearly see where it has been and where it hasn't been. It's also bringing us some showers and some thunderstorms throughout the day. They'll be scattered, not a ton of rain, but rain nonetheless. Bus stop, kids getting on, obviously. They're going to need a jacket, and they're going to need something a little bit warm because of how cool it is. 63 at 7 a.m. and we actually start to cool off. 62 by the time they get off the bus with a gusty northeast breeze upwards of 25. We're going to hit a high of 66 early, and then we'll gradually drop back into the lower 60s with some additional shower chances through the day. Then tonight we hit a low of 55 early, and then we gradually start to warm up with maybe some additional shower chances by tomorrow morning. As we head into the weekend, we hold on to those thunderstorm chances, but look at this. 96 Saturday, possible record-breaking day Saturday, and then 85 and partly cloudy on Sunday. Our rain tracker does show where we don't get a ton of rain out of this. We're talking 1/10 of an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch. We're hoping for a little more, but this is what it is at this point. And here's why temperatures rise through the night. 88 tomorrow, and of course 96 on Saturday. And then once we get through the last bit of some showers and rumbles of thunder Saturday, temperatures level out, become a bit more manageable, and we stay dry. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, Governor Laura Kelly announces a grant aimed at addressing the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students.
Showers and maybe some thunderstorms today across the area and much cooler weather. We're going to talk all about it in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a Chanute, Kansas man gets a fresh start after his name was cleared of a felony conviction. He says he didn't commit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach, and it is 6 o'clock.
It is 6 a.m. I'm Chris Warner, and if you are just joining us, something we brought you right at the end of our last hour, we're following breaking news out of Joplin in 1900 East 9th Street, where there's a portion of an apartment complex. It looked like it's several buildings that's actually on fire. It appeared to be fully engulfed. Our very own Shannon Becker is on the scene right now. We're expecting updates from him through the morning. There you can see it. It appears it's a several building complex, and that particular one is fully engulfed in flames there. Again, Shannon Becker live on the scene. We'll have live updates, KOAMNewsNow.com, on our KOAM News Now Facebook page, and of course we'll bring you updates here on the KOAM Morning News as they become available.
And again, that's at 9th and Connecticut in Joplin. So if you have a morning commute, you might want to stay a little bit clear from that area.
Absolutely. You can see that's a pretty significant fire, a lot of crew on the scene, so you can be guaranteed there's some road closures in the area. Bus routes also running this morning, probably going to be a little diverted, a little bit off, depending on how long this fire burns. So pay attention to your school's Facebook page, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Eastmoreland's district, so they should be sending out notices should there be any changes to the bus routes. Just be prepared for a few shakeups this morning. Another shakeup we're experiencing is temperatures and rain. We've got rain building into the area. You can see it drifting off to the east-southeast. We're not going to get pummeled with rain, but rain nonetheless. Now in Joplin right now, it is still dry. The cold fronts moved through, just no rain yet. 62 is where we are. We've got cooler temperatures off to the northwest, 54 in Iola, 58 in Pittsburgh, 63 in Neosho, 65 in Anderson. We are anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below our temperature now than what we were 24 hours ago. Allergy sufferers, excuse me, as well. Some good news, 7.1 out of 12 today, 7 out of 12 tomorrow, so down from what they've been. Still not great, but better. Bus stop forecast, rain showers across the area, 63 when they get on the bus. More rain showers this afternoon and a pinch cooler, 62 at 3 o'clock. Hit a high early today of 66 degrees, and then we'll start to drop back into the lower 60s as showers continue. Brief break in showers tonight before they return tomorrow morning. We'll start with an overnight low of 55 early, and then that temperature will gradually rise through the evening. We'll be 58 at 6 a.m. We're going to take a look at the 7-day forecast and talk about how hot it's going to get. I know that sounds crazy. We have another possible record-breaking day ahead of us. We just got through one yesterday. We have another record high day, staring us right in the face, despite the fact that it's upwards of 30 to 40 degrees cooler today than it was yesterday.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a topsy-turvy forecast, and it's very interesting because we're in that transitionary period now. First day of fall is today, officially 8 o'clock. So the first full day of fall is tomorrow, but still, it's a very odd transitionary period, and we're going to talk all about it here in a few minutes.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about for sure. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a collision with a dog in the roadway causes a serious crash in McDonald County. The crash occurred on Wednesday around 2 in the afternoon. Suzuki motorcycle driven by Dustin Stevens struck a dog in the roadway, which then caused the bike to leave the road and overturn. Stevens was transported to Freeman West in Joplin by ambulance with moderate injuries. Passenger Jamie Stevens was airlifted to Freeman West with serious injuries. A former Joplin physician pleads guilty in a multi-million-dollar Medicare and Medicaid fraud scheme. Uluwatobi Yurikin entered the plea in federal court. Yurikin practiced medicine in Missouri, among other places, contracted with a staffing company to work as a telemedicine provider. Yurikin admits he falsely certified that products and tests were medically necessary for more than 2,000 Medicare and Medicaid patients in Missouri whom he had never met or examined. Yurikin received nearly $45,000 for signing the fraudulent claims. Those claims resulted in millions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare billing from medical equipment companies and labs. Well, a rear-end crash takes the life of a Neosho man. The crash happened just after 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. Authorities say Buick Encore traveling eastbound on Highway 86 struck the rear of a Hyundai Elantra, which was stopped in the left-hand turn lane near Highway 86 and Baxter Street. The Neosho Police Department says the driver of the Buick, 74-year-old Charles Hickson, died at the scene. Police say the driver of the Hyundai, Shireen Rabuliaman of Neosho, was treated and released on scene by the Newton County Ambulance. To see the full press release from the Neosho Police, go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A Chinook, Kansas man has a fresh start after his name is cleared of a felony conviction for crimes he did not commit. 7 years ago, Shane Thompson found out the conviction of another man was associated with his Social Security number. Since then, he's fought to have his name cleared, and on Wednesday it came to fruition as law enforcement provided the last documents needed to do so.
I have chronic health conditions now. I have a liver condition that I'm fighting, autoimmune disease, and so I'm trying to get disability, SSI. Well, I'm in a predicament with them even because having a felony on your record can actually prevent you from getting a Social Security disability.
Later in the show, we'll hear from Thompson about the challenges he overcame to get his name cleared. Well, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a 5-year, $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The grant aims to address the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students. An official with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says the grant will impact children without resources.
Housing is a big issue for us. A lot of them have HUD vouchers already. They just are unable to find proper rentals, and so that's something I work with. I am constantly on the hunt for HUD-approved housing, and then food is another one. I make sure that they are enrolled in SNAP if they aren't already, and then find the food pantry options that they have available to them.
Gagnon says Community Health Center will be able to add a school-based community health worker in Pittsburgh and Fort Scott school districts. Score One for Health is hosting elementary students from Columbia and West Central schools in Joplin. This program is held at Joplin's Kansas City University and allows second-year medical students to do head-to-toe physical assessments, oral screenings, and vision tests. Elementary students also participate in a STEM education activity.
A lot of times we teach students how to do an ear exam in a lab on each other or from a video, but today actually they get to experience doing that on a child. It's one thing to do it on a participating adult, but sometimes it's a lot more challenging or fun on a child.
KCU medical students will help examine kids at all 11 Joplin elementary schools this semester. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather.
Well, we have a little more weather.
Okay.
Briefly.
We should probably pause for weather here.
Well, on a day like today, like the last few days when it's been hot, maybe not so much. But now we've got something to talk about. We got some rain moving through. We're talking about 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. So not a ton, but any rain is good rain. And a look at the 7-day forecast. This is why the temperatures are all flip-floppy. Look at tomorrow. 88, record-breaking day Saturday. More showers to isolated thunderstorms. And then we clear out by Sunday, and temperatures begin to level off. They're warm, but they level off at a slightly more manageable level under partly cloudy skies.
All right, well, that's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, it's Thursday, and we've got Chef Anthony in studio this morning. Guess what he's making?
He's making Ratatouille, and we're not talking about the movie.
No.
He's not reproducing the movie in the studio. He's making a dish called Ratatouille.
That's right.
Until today, I didn't know there was such a thing.
He knows what's in it.
I do now. Yeah, somewhat. I looked up the ingredients. We're also going to meet a sea otter who loves to steal surfboards.
That's not random. And why consistent lack of sleep is bad for your immune system. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
All right, taking a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Actually, that's the 7-day forecast, which is almost as important. But let's go back to the beginning here and take a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. We've got rain across the area, which is something we absolutely need, and we've got more coming in. Now, we're not talking about a ton of rain across the area, but we do have rain moving into the area, which is, again, much needed. Now, 7th and range line, still dry right now. The cold front's made it through Joplin, just not the rain showers yet. We are sitting at 62 under partly cloudy skies, but rain on the way. 54 Iola, 50-68 Center, 62 Columbus, 63 in Neosho, not bad overall. And we are still sitting, well, obviously, because it's cooler this morning, 10 to 20 degrees cooler this morning than where we were 24 hours ago. And that's kind of crazy. Real quick on the allergy outlook. Good news for allergy sufferers. It's still up there, but it's better. A 7.1 out of 12 today on the pollen count, a 7 out of 12 on the pollen count for tomorrow. So that's good. And that's thanks to the rain and the cold front. Rain showers as kids get on the bus this morning, 63. And then check this out, 3 o'clock, 62, and some extended showers. Temperature comes down instead of going up. And that's what you can see on our day planner. We'll eventually, this morning or early afternoon, hit a high of 66 degrees. And then the temperatures will gradually drop. Now, granted, they do that, but it's a quick drop back into the lower 60s with showers. And then tonight is where it gets more interesting. We'll have a low of 55 early this evening before temperatures begin to rise again. It'll be 58 by 6 a.m. with more showers building in. Then look at Saturday. It's a record-breaking day. We're talking a 40-degree jump in temperatures almost from today to 2 days from now with more shower and thunderstorm chances. We'll warm up quickly tomorrow as well, 88 for the afternoon high. Just absolutely crazy weather across the area, and most certainly crazy temperatures across the area. Something a little bit strange, something a little bit bizarre, but at least we even out heading into the week ahead under clear skies. All right. Wait till you see this sea otter. A surfer off the coast of California was confronted by an otter while he was out catching some waves, and as Jeannie Moose reports, she ought to be ashamed of what she did to this board.
Nick Erickson is usually the one riding his surfboard, but when he left it empty for a moment after catching a wave off Santa Cruz, a sea otter figured it ought to be the one riding it.
It climbed on and made itself at home.
Nick's friends on shore couldn't believe it.
No way!
Nick's tactics ranged from the puny, trying to splash the sea otter, to the brave, attempting to tow it toward shore. But every time he touched the board, the sea otter, possibly a pregnant sea otter, would lunge at it.
Were you actually scared?
A little bit, yeah. It's like a pit bull puppy in a sense. Like it looks cute, but you know how dangerous it can be.
That's Nick's good friend, Chad, next to him. He was the one shooting the video.
None of you guys went out to help him.
He should have just swam in. I didn't want to leave the board, though.
When Nick got too close, the sea otter would dive in after him. Nick was teased about why the sea otter was so riled up at him.
You're being accused of being the one who got the otter pregnant.
Yeah, that's my friends being friends, I guess.
Finally, another surfer came to the rescue, managing to shove the board away from the otter. The otter then chased the rescuer, then changed its mind and started chasing Nick.
I kept looking over my shoulder, and it was like a scary movie.
You can imagine which one. But Nick was unscathed.
Was the board damaged?
Yeah, it took out a couple of chunks.
It did that too with its teeth.
Nick may keep it unrepaired as a memento of the standoff. He might even get that sea otter tattoo he once considered.
I've always had a fixation with sea otters.
And this sea otter had a fixation with your board. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Well, take a look. Off to my right, your left. You ought to know there's no rats in this kitchen, but Chef Anthony making ratatouille. That was terrible, I know. But he's making ratatouille when we come back.
Welcome back. We are in the Chef Anthony test kitchen this morning with Chef Anthony himself.
Good morning.
And he has brought a couple of guests with him from his PHS Cooking Club.
Yes, PHS Culinary Club members. This is Frankie Carpino and Lacey Strode, both of them freshmen this year, and they're here to help us make ratatouille.
Ratatouille. Okay, so we've come up with lots of puns for ratatouille. We made our TikTok yesterday with ratatouille.
Well, just remember
yeah.
that everybody's like, oh, the movie Ratatouille. They're like, well, why are you making a rat? Just remember, the rat's name is Remy, and Remy makes ratatouille.
Right. Yes, do not offend the movie lovers. The rat's name is not Ratatouille.
Is that why they call it ratatouille?
Because the final dish that he makes is ratatouille.
Are you serious?
No, okay, so ratatouille, like, tell us a little bit about the history of ratatouille.
Ratatouille
That has nothing
itself,
to do with the movie.
That's right.
Yes.
Ratatouille itself used to be an old school peasant's dish. It was a stew, kind of like beef stew that Grandma used to make. But what a lot of us in the culinary profession do is elevate the ideas behind that. So as you see, we're slicing our vegetables nice and thin. We're going to stack them up. We're going to lay them in with this beautiful sauce that we're making here, and we're going to bake them in the oven so we can actually build an orchestrated dish instead of having a bowl of stew in front of you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
So it's just another way to do it, and we enrich sauce wonderfully. 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes into a pot. Onions, garlic, olive oil, red and yellow bell peppers, all go inside the pot. We're going to use zucchinis, eggplants, squash, and tomatoes inside of our ratatouille to make our filling. But you can add anything else that you want, mushrooms. Just stay vegetable, don't put any meat in it.
And you're getting all the produce for this recipe from Martinez Produce.
From Martinez Produce.
Yes.
I called them. They were so excited when I told them what we were making that they brought some really beautiful stuff
Yeah, I mean,
for me.
it pretty much uses everything in the box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then we have this very beautiful basil, purple and traditional basil that we've grown in the school by Miss Ross in our botany department.
Okay.
Now, traditional basil, everybody understands what it smells like, but give the purple basil just a little rub.
Oh, rub, you said.
Just like that, and give it a nice little whiff of that. It's a totally different
totally different, yeah.
of what you're doing, but it adds this very deep, very earthy flavor.
So you're using both of them or just one?
We're using both of them, and all we've done is picked off the leaves, rolled them up together, and sliced them really, really thin, and thrown them right into our sauce.
Okay.
So
Now, did you use a food processor to blend everything up?
processed just the tomatoes down, let them cook, process them down, but leave your chunks of your peppers and stuff whole.
Okay.
So if I were you, I would try that. That's really good. I think you're going to love that. And this is going to be the base for our ratatouille.
He says that while it just burbles and bubbles in here, so I'm gonna take a little bit and then blow on it for a minute.
So we're going to use this as a base. It goes on the top and on the bottom of our pan. So it comes together really nicely. The flavors come through, but it doesn't overcook the vegetables to where the vegetables just turn to complete mush inside of the dish.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that great?
And there's still a little bit of consistency to the vegetables, yes.
Yeah. So we're holding on to everything. Simmer this, I would say probably 10 minutes would be a good amount of time just to simmer this up. You want to make sure that you have good aroma with it and your consistency's there. You do want to see the chunks in your sauce. So that makes a huge difference.
Now you have your students cutting some vegetables this morning. This is something that you work with in your class and in your culinary club on technique.
Correct. We learned to hold the knives correctly, how to hold our vegetables correctly so that when we're cutting we don't cut ourselves. But as you can see, Lacey has these very beautiful, very similar, very consistent cuts. So she's paying attention to what she's doing, and she's going nice and slow, because nice and slow is how we get where we're looking. And Frankie has the same thing in his cuts. He's relatively close. Frankie's a little newer at this, but you can see he's got some that are a little off, and he's got some that are really on. So practice makes perfect with all of this, and they get to sit and do this all day when they're in club. So they can practice as much as they want till they get used to them.
That's awesome. And, you know, these are life skills that you can take with you for the rest of your life. You know?
Exactly.
Whether you're cooking for yourself, or you're cooking for a loved one or your family, or if you want to go into a culinary profession.
Oh, yes. And we're always happy to do it. We have quite a few new events coming up and a few contests. We have our baking competition that we spoke about last week coming up, and we're welcoming all students of schools anywhere in the area. Just go to the website or reach out at the high school. You can even reach out to the club member students on Instagram.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and go to break, and then when we come back on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, finish putting together our ratatouille. Looking forward to this. Until then, trying to think of another pun. I guess we'll ladle you later.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
Got an update to breaking news for you this morning out of Joplin as we continue to follow an apartment complex fire, 1900 block of East 9th Street. This is right at 9th and Connecticut. This is video from earlier this morning. Firefighters arrived just after 5:30. KOAM Shannon Becker live on the scene. He is there now. This is right along the north side of the railroad tracks. Right now, though, it's unknown if everyone was out safely. The fire had already breached the roof, making it impossible for firefighters to enter every apartment and conduct a search. Again, this is a breaking story, and we will have more information as it becomes available on our website, through our Facebook page, and of course right here on the KOAM Morning News. Turning to Healthwatch this morning, don't make a habit of late nights. A study in the Journal of Experimental Medicine found a consistent lack of sleep can negatively affect immune cells. Doctors at Mount Sinai say even losing an hour and a half of shut-eye each night can potentially increase the risk of inflammatory disorders and cardiovascular disease. Let's look at one of our top health stories today. We are watching the KOAM Morning News and a very brief check of that forecast. 66 for an afternoon high early. Temperatures begin to drop. Showers, scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. And as we head into tonight, we start with a low of 55 early, and then we actually start to warm up through the overnight hours. 58 tomorrow morning with showers building back in. Look at Saturday, 96 degrees. With some scattered showers and thunderstorms. As you can see, for this system, as we head into this afternoon and this evening, we're not expecting a ton of rain out of this first batch, but this isn't our only batch. Looking at a 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. And the future track tells us what I mean by it's not our only batch. So this is the rain moving through now, and then we'll have some additional shower chances Friday, and then again early Saturday, and then we start to clear out. And as you can see on the 7-day forecast, we got a topsy-turvy forecast. This is why our overnight low rises through the overnight, why the temperature rises, because we're going to be 88 tomorrow and nearly 40 degrees, 30 to 40 degrees warmer Saturday than what we are today before temperatures do finally level out. We get mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 80s to start the next work week with overnight lows in the 50s. We're back after this.
Coming up, Governor Laura Kelly announces a grant aimed at addressing the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students.
It's dry in Joplin right now, but it is also cool as a cold front's made its way through. Rain is on the way, some of us already getting it. We're going to look at everything coming up.
And a Chinook, Kansas man gets a fresh start after his name was cleared of a felony conviction he did not commit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. We're, hold on. We'll make this work. With our cooking and everything we were doing, that's still a little short. There we go. Hi, how are you this morning? So, yeah, we had to rearrange a little bit.
We'll get it for you.
We had to rearrange a little bit, and so
let me get it.
Hold on. See, this is what I'm saying. Look at how tall this guy is. This is insanity this morning.
There you
Absolute
go. There
insanity.
You go.
So, that takes care of the whole problem. Tim, you are on top of it this morning because that solves the problem right there. Just straight to the weather. 7th and range line is dry. Hold on, I want to back this up because we do have rain coming into the area. Now, a good chunk of our northern counties getting the rain this morning. More on the way. Not a ton today, but we have scattered shower and thunderstorm chances throughout the next few days. We also have a wild forecast ahead of us temperature-wise. Oh, I'm out of breath for some reason this morning. We have news this morning that we're going to get to. So let me.
I apologize. I moved away the cooktop and I forgot to put your box back.
That's all right. I just don't know why I'm so out of breath this morning. Okay, so real quick on the weather. Let me press some buttons here, and we're just going to skip right ahead. So temperatures this morning are anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees cooler than what they were 24 hours ago for most of us. Allergy sufferers, good news, 7.1 out of 12 today, 7 out of 12 tomorrow, so a little bit better than what we've seen the last several days. 63, kids need the jacket. They need something warm to wear because when the kids get home this afternoon, 62 with showers continuing, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Here's the crazy part, 66 for a high early today, and then temperatures will drop throughout the day to the lower 60s with showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two. Showers let up this evening. 55 is our low early tonight before we start to warm back up through the evening. 58 at 6 a.m. We're going to show you the 7-day forecast here in a few minutes and talk about why that is, what's going on, and how much more rain we have on the way, and how hot it's going to get. We have another potentially record-breaking day
And we
ahead
did
of
break
us.
the record yesterday?
To my knowledge, yes.
Oh, wow.
The record yesterday was 95, and I believe our official high was 98.
Yeah, we more than broke it, that's for sure.
We certainly did, and we have another potential record-breaking day ahead of us, despite how it feels this morning.
All right. Well, right now we're going to get to our breaking news. Fire broke out in the apartment building in Joplin just after 5:30 this morning. Joplin 911 dispatch received multiple reports of the fire at 1921 East 9th, that's at 9th and Connecticut. At this time, it is still unknown if everyone was able to get out safely. We are following this to make sure we can find out the latest details. The fire had already breached the roof, making it impossible for firefighters to enter every apartment and search. Stay with KOAM for more information or head over to our website as the story develops. Again, breaking news this morning as fire breaks out in an apartment building at 1921 East 9th Street, that's 9th in Connecticut, in Joplin. Well, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a 5-year, $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The grant aims to address the behavioral health needs of nearly 40,000 students. An official with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says the grant will impact children without resources.
So if someone is struggling to come to school ready to learn because they have food insecurities or transportation issues, or maybe they're not sure if they're going to have a place to stay the next night, our community health workers can really step in and be that bridge between the resources and support that we have in the schools and the resources and support that families and students need at home.
Gagnon says Community Health Center will be able to add a school-based community health worker in both Pittsburgh and Fort Scott school districts. A Chinook, Kansas man has a fresh start after his name is cleared of a felony conviction for crimes he did not commit. Our own Jalen Banks has his story.
After a mishap between the Fredonia Police Department and the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, Shane Thompson's record was tarnished after several felonies were mistakenly put on it, and over a decade later, he's still fighting to clear his name.
I've had to force them to right such a horrible wrong. And so I don't even feel like anything could actually be done at this point to bring back what I've lost. You know, the reputation, the time.
With the felonies on his record, he's faced many tribulations, such as traveling, employment, and most recently, health assistance.
I have chronic health conditions now. I have a liver condition that I'm fighting, autoimmune disease, and so I'm trying to get disability, SSI. Well, I'm in a predicament with them even because having a felony on your record can actually prevent you from getting a Social Security disability.
To clear his name, he needed the Fredonia Police Department to submit to the Kansas Bureau of Investigation that there was a mistake made on their end. I reached out to the Fredonia Police Department and they declined to do an interview, but provided this statement. A search of his record did indicate that there was a discrepancy in the crime he was charged for and the charge on his criminal record. It is not known at what point in the criminal justice procedure that this occurred, but as soon as we were made aware, It was corrected. We contacted the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, and they have also made the necessary correction. Today, Thompson got the news he was looking for from the KBI.
Okay, well, all right, well, that's good news. It's been 10 years of fighting this, so I'm so happy to finally, I'm almost speechless to get it off there. I appreciate all your help. You were a big help in this.
You're welcome.
So it's almost like being born again and having a whole new life. I feel like a totally different person. That's how they're going.
And the best part, he was able to share the moment with his family.
Yeah, she said as far as my record goes, that it's completely over with and clear. And so we can move on and be happy and not be afraid anymore. Yay!
In Chanute, Kansas, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Thompson says now that his name and record have been cleared, he'll be permitted to vote for the first time in his life. Wow.
All right, that's an incredible
Can't imagine
story.
having to deal with
Oh,
that.
absolutely not. I mean, we talked about doppelgangers yesterday. I had one when I was in 6th grade at South Middle School in Joplin. There was another Chris Warner in the 7th grade. And it messed up everything for me for the first part of my 6th grade year. I don't know what happened to him after that, but there was another one, and it just messed everything up. Anyway, quick check of the 7-day. Roller coaster ride on temperature, 66 today, 88 tomorrow, 96, possibly record-breaking Saturday. And then after the showers and thunderstorm chances clear out by Saturday, we start to see partly cloudy skies and temperatures level off. They're warm, but they start to at least level off, and they're better than what we've seen over the last several days.
All right, and that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Dan Keys from the Bullis Fine Arts Center stops by to tell us about an event highlighting the life of Gene Kelly.
And speaking of singing in the rain, some of us might be doing that as the rain falls this morning. We got another look at your forecast a little later. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Today we have a very special guest in the studio. So we've got Ken here with us. Dan. My God. So this is what we're talking about. It's been a wild morning this morning. Dan is here with it. This is Dan. There's no Ken in this building to my knowledge. No Ken's in this building. We have Dan with us. So we have a really exciting event coming to the Bullis Fine Arts Center. So what exactly is coming up? What's going on out there?
So this is going to be our 27th celebration of the Buster Keaton Festival celebration. Buster was born in Pickaway, Kansas, just outside of Iola, Kansas. And for this will be our 27th year where we celebrate Buster, and we also celebrate other movie people. Could be stars, could be people that have developed films and things like that. And so this is just a film celebration, a film festival. So we have 3 days. We start tonight. We're going to be doing Singing in the Rain. Tonight, this whole weekend, we are celebrating Gene Kelly and Buster Keaton. They had a connection. They played on the same Hollywood baseball team.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. And they were both unbelievable innovators in film, creating just wonderful different technologies in the era that they were in developing and furthering the film programs. And, Buster Keaton, well known for his stunts. Gene Kelly, well known for his dance. And so we're going to be celebrating both of those this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Both of them absolutely incredible to be able to celebrate. And I understand, too, in terms of talking about Gene Kelly, you've got a special guest that's expected there as well for this.
Yep. So Patricia Ward Kelly is going to be here. She's going to be here to basically celebrate Gene Kelly's life. She was married to Gene Kelly in the last 10 years of his life. We'll have Patricia here, and she'll tell you all about that. But she is going to be introducing the film tonight for Singing in the Rain. She'll be introducing tomorrow's film at 3 o'clock, which will be Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and that's with Frank Sinatra. And then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, she is going to be introducing a new film that she helped co-produce with the Scottish Ballet, and it's called Starstruck. And it's a very special movie on a piece of choreography that Gene had done in his lifetime. And then we will transition over into Buster Keaton on Saturday morning and afternoon with the cameraman, and then Steamboat Bill Jr. And then that evening will be Patricia Ward Kelly in her one-woman show, Gene Kelly, The Legacy. And it's a 90-minute, unbelievable presentation on Gene Kelly's life, and it's dynamic, and you don't want to miss it.
Definitely looking forward to that. So for information about the event, where can people go? What do they need to know? Can they get tickets? How does this work?
They're going to go to boluscenter.org and click on buy tickets, or they can click on Iola Keaton, click on that tab, boluscenter.org, go there, and it's going to be a fantastic time.
All right, and you also have a book in your hand. What's that about there?
Okay, so we also have an author that's going to be visiting us, and that is Dana Stevens, Saturday afternoon. She just came out with this new book on Buster Keaton. She is a film critic, and it is an interesting perspective from a film critic, a little bit of history about Buster, but also how his history fit in just in the world that he grew up in. So she's going to be there. She's going to talk about the book. She's going to talk about her love of Buster, and she will be doing book signings. So this book is available in Iola during the festival, and she will sign the book as well. So,
and what's it like to be able to bring something like this to Iola, Kansas? Of course, in our area, we have a lot of smaller communities. And for Iola, this is a pretty huge deal. What's it like bringing this to that community and bringing the attention there?
We have a very beautiful, wonderful space, and we are very blessed to have the Bolus Fine Arts Center in the middle of Southeast Kansas. And we, since 1964, have been bringing artists from all over the world into the Southeast Kansas area. And so with this festival throughout its years has attracted visitors for this festival specifically from Germany, London, and all over the country. So yeah, it's pretty special.
An incredible spotlight on Iola out there. Yep. So Dan Keith, thank you so much for joining us this morning. A little later on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, we're actually going to speak with Patricia Ward Kelly about this upcoming event, and we're going to share her story. And of course, we'll have all of this information for this event on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Larry Tedlock. Specialist Tedlock served in the Army from 1959 to 1962. He served in Munich, Germany with the 46th Armored Division. A native of Columbus, Kansas, we thank you, today's four-state hero, Larry Tedlock.
All right, we've got some birthdays to start celebrating today. A little bit of a short list, but that's all right. We start with Ashlyn Schoenhofer in Parsons, turning 7, and she is pictured with her big sister. A very happy Thursday birthday to you, Ashlyn.
All right, and we've got Alex Welch, turning 13 years old this year, spending some time out with Mother Nature there in Columbus. Happy birthday, Alex.
We also have Shelby Finley turning 15 in Girard today. A very happy birthday to you, Shelby, on this fine Thursday.
Very pretty picture there. Anna Coberly celebrating birthday number 18 this year. Anna is in Columbus. Happy birthday wishes coming from the church family at Center Christian Church.
We also have Dustin Hensley, a little further to the northeast in Jasper, celebrating birthday number 39. Dustin, a very happy birthday to you.
All right, looking great in that Cardinal uniform too. All right, and Barbara O'Neill celebrating birthday number 75 this year in Joplin. Happy birthday, Miss Barbara.
We also have Winnie Pack in Chanute celebrating birthday number 88 in Chanute. Winnie, a very happy birthday to you. I hope you make it a fantastic one. And you know what? Just celebrate all week long. I mean, why not?
Chris, where's the party at this week? Today.
Oh my God, I didn't even look. The party is in the bus.
That's right. Valerie Richardson celebrating a birthday in Columbus.
We've got Susan Eckleberry celebrating a birthday as well, and Susan works at the Bryant Student Health Center at Pittsburgh State. And then we have Lloyd Coons celebrating a birthday in the Boss, and Buddy Lago celebrating a birthday in the Boss. That is where the party is today. A very happy birthday to all of you. And of course, if you're wanting to submit some, Tanya's got information on what you need to know to do that.
That's right. All you have to do is email them to us at birthdayswithan@koamtv.com. And make sure you include all the details that we need too, like the name, first and last, please. And also include a picture if you have one. And tell us when the birthday is and what day you would like it to air.
And of course, while you're visiting our website, you should take an opportunity to sign up for the KOAM News Now Birthday Club. When you do so, you get some coupons and some really cool deals to local businesses. All you've got to do is go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM News Now Birthday Club. Okay, so as we take a look at the Skywatch storm tracker, I'm losing my place in the whole system here. We have rain. In fact, Miss Patricia Ward-Kelly, who's going to join us in our Fox show, was here, said it's raining in Pittsburgh, and you can see where that rain is as it slowly works off to the east-southeast. So more rain building in. We're not talking about some major flooding or anything like that, but rain nonetheless, and it's rain we need. Okay, Met's ambulance on the way to somewhere. Of course, make sure you pull over for emergency vehicles. If you see them, get out of the way as best you can. 7th and Rangeline, cloudy, still dry though, 62. Rain on the way in Joplin. Other places where it's been raining, it's cooler. 54 Iola, 57 Fort Scott. Coming down now, 57 Pittsburgh, 59 Lamar, 58 Nevada, 62 in Carthage. And still a little warmer to the south, where that cold front's kind of stalled out right along the Arkansas-Missouri state line and points to the west. 64 Veneta and Jay and Bentonville this morning. Now, where you are, if you're north of the front, you're upwards of 20 degrees cooler now than what we were 24 hours ago. If you're south of that front, you're cool, but not as cool as everybody else. That came out wrong. You guys are really cool in Grove, Anderson. You're awesome, but your temperatures aren't as cool, unfortunately. But don't worry, we have better temperatures on the way. Also good news for allergy sufferers as well. Still up there, a 7.1 out of 12 on the pollen count today, a 7 out of 12 on the pollen count for tomorrow. So it's still up there, but it is considerably better than what we have seen over the last few days. Kids getting on the bus this morning, showers. Make sure they've got a rain jacket. Make sure they're dressed a little bit warmer, because when they get off the bus, we're going to drop a degree. We're looking at 62 by 3 o'clock. We're also looking at a gusty northeast breeze to make sure they're prepared. And as we go through today, here's where the fun comes. This is an exciting kind of weather day from my perspective in the wild topsy-turvy ride we're about to take. 66 will be our high early. Then temperatures will drop back into the lower 60s as we head through the rest of the day. Showers and maybe a few thunderstorms hanging on. Then tonight, we have an overnight low of 55. Early, and then we start to warm up as the overnight progresses. We'll start tomorrow at 58 degrees with a few showers. And then look at Saturday, a record-breaking day possible Saturday with some isolated thunderstorm chances. And then Sunday, we kind of normalize out. Rain, not a lot expected with this first batch. This rain tracker only runs through today. So with today's rain, 1/10 of an inch to upwards of 3/4 of an inch of rain. And on the 7-day forecast, so 88 tomorrow. That's why we start to warm up overnight tonight. Showers and isolated thunderstorm chances. These are scattered, but they're there. Hold on through Saturday, and then we start to even out a bit under partly cloudy skies and more reasonable temperatures by the start of next week. We are back right after this. We're continuing to follow breaking news out of Joplin this morning. At 9th in Connecticut, we're watching an apartment complex fire. This is video from earlier this morning where you can see one of the buildings in that complex fully engulfed in flames. Firefighters say that the cooler temperatures and the wind we're seeing this morning kind of fanning those flames. And due to the nature of the fire and the fact it was already engulfed when firefighters arrived, they haven't been able to do a full sweep of the apartments in that building, so it's unknown at this time if everyone's been able to get out safely. Shannon Becker on scene. This is a breaking story. We'll continue to update you on our website, Facebook, and here on the KOAM Morning News. We are looking at 66 for a high. Showers, thunderstorms, isolated and scattered, and we'll drop through the day. And then we are looking at an overnight low of 55, and then we'll start to warm up tomorrow with more showers and thunderstorms.
Well, be sure to tune in at noon. We're making spinach and cheese stromboli in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Absolutely looking forward to it. And we've got Patricia Ward-Kelly, the wife of the late, great Gene Kelly, on our KOAM Morning Show on Fox 14. We'll see you then.
And we're finishing off our Ratatouille. Yeah. We'll be right back.